It's the debrief live on the Blood Red channel after Liverpool have beaten Manchester City 1-0 in the Premier League. Join me, Patrick Smith, and I'm joined live from Anfield by Theo Squires. Theo, welcome along. I mean, that's one of the greatest Liverpool City matches we've seen in this brilliant rivalry that's happened over the years. What's your initial reaction to that one?
About time. Liverpool needed a victory like that, a performance like that. We know they've had many reasons why the season's not gone to plan so far, but if ever there was a moment for them to stand up and be counted, today was it, and the players have done exactly that. In the past, when we've seen them get the better of Man City, it's because they've exploded into life from the very first kick. They've got a couple of early goals, and even though City will come back strong at them, sometimes get consolations and give them a scare, they've had enough to hold out. But this was something completely different. This was just pure game management by them. There's been so much said about the defence and the midfield leaving too many gaps and how it's so easy to get them behind them and cause them problems. Every single member of that back five today was superb. Like Joe Gomez, what a performance. Brilliant showing from him. Van Dijk, I don't want to say back to his best, but we know he's not been at his best for a good few months now, and that was much more like it from him. James Milner, plenty was said about his inclusion at right back before the game with the memories of him being tormented by Phil Foden last year. Again, superb. Andy Robertson only came back from injury in midweek and he kept Cancelo quiet. And then the midfield, they covered so much ground. And then this week up front, Mohamed Salah down the centre. Who knew it? That was the answer. You put Salah down the middle and the goals will come back. Such a good take from him, and it's come from another brilliant long boot from Alisson. We've seen him do it before, but this one could be the most special one yet.
I mean, Theo, we don't want to really use the cliches, but it really was the old Liverpool back. It was absolutely brilliant from the defence and midfield. I want to look more at the defence in depth because James Milner came in at right back, did an outstanding job. But Joe Gomez, what a performance. He was awarded man of the match, rightly so, by Sky Sports. Just an unbelievable performance from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Like, you look at that Liverpool team, and if you're Pep Guardiola, you target Joe Gomez. You've got this man mountain of a striker in Erling Haaland who's scored like 20 goals from already. You know it's going to be a first ball battle against Van Dijk, and you've seen Joe Gomez be hauled off at half-time the last time he started at centre-back against Napoli. You target him, but he didn't put a foot wrong. They couldn't get anything off him. His pace, his recovery pace was always there to get him behind and steal the ball back. He was getting his blocks in. He was thriving with the challenge of Haaland, and his support to Milner to keep Foden quiet was brilliant as well. Now it's just one game. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But when there's the panics there about the defensive injury crisis, he's put in a brilliant performance at right against Rangers with a wonderful assist. Back in his favoured position, he showed what he can do today. There is a reason why he was first choice along with Virgil van Dijk when Liverpool won the Premier League. When Liverpool drew 1-1, I think it was away at Man City, just after Van Dijk had done the ACL, Gomez was meant to be the senior centre-back for the rest of the season because he was first choice. And then we know he had the injury himself, the injury on international duty. And he's just been so unfortunate ever since with injuries, holding him back, players getting ahead of him in the pecking order, and just not getting a rhythm, not getting a clear run of games. But he's put in this performance today, having been great whenever he has been turned to most of the time this season and for the final weeks of last season. You're just waiting for him to get back in that starting 11 because there's no reason why he can't be a long-term first-choice player for Liverpool. When they gave him his new contract in the summer, the club was saying, well, he is the best English centre-back there is. I'm guessing other fans probably won't agree with this, but he should be a late shout for the World Cup squad. Like, you think Kyle Walker's get injured, Reece James is injured. He's given you that cover as a right back. He's given you that right centre-back option. The only reason Kyle Walker ever ended up as a centre-back for England is because Joe Gomez got injured when he was first choice for them in the first place back in 2018. He's shown his quality today. He's no pushover. He rightly deserved that Man of the Match award. And it's a welcome return to form for him. You just hope Ibrahim Konate's injury wasn't too serious and that he can come back and give some options as well. But even when he is back and then Joel Matip's back after that, it's a selection headache that Jurgen Klopp will thankfully rather enjoy. As he said at the start of the season, he's got 4 of the best centre-backs in the world. And the one who should be 4th in the pecking order has stepped up and showed that today.
I mean, you've hit the nail on the head, Theo. I think if Southgate's watching, it's certainly going to be making him question himself. And I'm so glad for Gomez because this could perhaps be a catalyst for him getting back to his best because he's capable of performances like today where he can seriously be one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. He's shown it today. There's no reason why he can't maintain that. But I want to move into the midfield as well, Theo, because I was very impressed. Someone who's had a bit of scrutiny this season is Fabinho. I thought he was very important today. It was a scrappy battle of a game, but he's also very composed on the ball. And he's sometimes been sluggish this season. In the Rangers game, there was a bit of frustration growing with his passing, but again, superb from Fabinho today, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd argue that the formation probably suits him. Like when he's at his very best as the lone number 6 in the 4-3-3, he's the one who's got to basically cover that and final third pretty much on his own to cover the centre-backs off from protection. But when he's got a second player alongside him, it's a bit more balanced, isn't it? And when he's taken out the firing line to have a couple of games on the bench, you throw him back in. This is the sort of game Fabinho is going to rise in, and that's what we've seen today. He's won most of his tackles. You needed that combative performance from him in midfield today for Liverpool to get a hold of the game when the midfielders looked so anonymous for most of this season. And he just complements Thiago so well. There's a reason why on paper, if you're doing 2 in midfield, it is those 2, because they just, between them, offer everything. They win everything back. The passing between them is brilliant. And yeah, Fabinho, he's just, when he plays like this, he is the best number 6 in the world. Like Brazil might not see that, and he'll probably sit on the bench at Qatar behind a United duo. But who cares? As long as he's putting in good performances for Liverpool, we're happy, and that's what we got today.
Of course, there Harvey Elliott as well, rounding off that midfield. A very good performance today, seemingly everywhere. I think he must be up there for the most distance covered in that match. He was electric for Liverpool, wasn't he? You know, up and down the pitch all game, beyond his age, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, but we've been saying this about Harvey Elliott ever since, well, I suppose he's loan for Blackburn, wasn't it? We saw him as this very sensational talent when he was making those early youth appearances for Liverpool. He showed a bit of consistency at Blackburn and what he could do when given game time. We saw glimpses last year before the injury, and then it was just about getting him ready for this season. Yeah, there was a couple of games when he came back into the mix last year, but it was all about this season. And he has just started against the best team in the Premier League, best team in Europe, best team in the world, and bossed the midfield show. He's offered that good support on the right-hand side. He's still finding his way a little bit in terms of his role, I'd say. Like, probably not going to see him in a 4-3-3 midfield right in this game. But when it's that 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, and you want Salah in attack, he's shown today that he can be that understudy, or he can be the other option on the right. It's a role he knows well, and he caused problems for Man City, and it was great to see him as well, spurring the fans on, encouraging them. He knew that roar after the City goal was disallowed was needed, and it helped get Liverpool over the line today.
When you nicely alluded there to our next point with Mohamed Salah, Theo, let's talk about the match-winning moment. An unbelievable ball through from Alisson Becker that somehow skinned through João Cancelo and put Salah on goal. He had a couple of missed one-on-ones, but this one, Theo, wasn't ever going to miss, was he?
No, he wasn't. He'll be kicking himself that he didn't score the first one, and replay showed it was a great save.
It's an amazing save from Ederson on the first one, yeah.
But he should score, shouldn't he? Like, you expect Mohamed Salah as soon as he's one-on-one to score, though Diogo Jota is fuming that he's not squared the ball to him and given him a tap-in. But it's great composure from him to turn on the halfway line. Like, Cancelo is one of the very best right-backs, full-backs, whatever you want to call him, because he plays both, doesn't he, in the Premier League. And Salah's made him look silly. We've seen him score that goal a few times for Liverpool. Like, Alisson spots him quickly, sends that long ball over the top, and you know he's got the pace to get him behind defences. You know he's going to, as soon as he peels off that last shoulder, there's only going to be one outcome. And he's stood up and he's been counted when Liverpool needed him today. They couldn't afford another glaring miss when we've seen Jota head over at the far post or Robertson blaze over the crossbar and Ederson save from him. It was Liverpool's one of the last big chances in the game, and thankfully he took it. Ballon d'Or, the ceremony's tomorrow, and he's not going to be in the conversation to win that. Like, when 2022 was supposed to be his year, it hasn't gone to plan. He's had so many disappointments at club level and at international level as well. But it was a year ago when he got his hat-trick against Manchester United at Old Trafford, and we thought 2022 was going to be his year. Well, Haaland's replicating that sort of form he was showing last year. Salah took the stage today. He showed that he's still the elite star in the Premier League. He might not have 20 goals yet this season, but he's going to make sure that he's scoring a few for Liverpool, important ones as well. Golden Boot might be gone, but this goal today, it's got Liverpool hopefully kickstarting their season and can at least get them back into that Champions League contention.
Yeah, it was polar opposite to Arsenal last week there, wasn't it? It's so good to see so many chances being created. I mean, you've got City, arguably the best side in the league, and Liverpool could have scored 2, 3, maybe 4 goals. The chances were definitely there. We spoke about the defensive positivity, but it's so good to see us creating more chances, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Like, there's just the chances they had, you just want them to hit the target. Like, if Robertson keeps his shot down, something's got to happen on the line. Like, Ederson's out of position. They've either got to clear it or he scores. Jota, if he gets the header down, that could be pushed into the top corner. And then Salah's won it. It took a great save from Ederson to deny him. But this is what we've been lacking in some games. Like we said in other games, when Liverpool fallen behind, they haven't looked like equalising. And yes, they'll sometimes get goals, and they've still been scoring goals, but they still haven't looked dangerous. They've just come out of nothing. Against Rangers, pretty much everything went in, and maybe that's what they needed. And today it was much more like it from them, showing what they're about, why they have been able to challenge City time and time again over the last few years. Anfield certainly responded to it. It was a proper atmosphere, and we've not had that here for a long, long time. But it can't just be turned on for Man City. It has to be turned on now for the games and to get Liverpool back into contention. Players can't just rely on the fans as well. They've got to give them something to respond to. It all goes in sync. If Liverpool can play like this and put on a performance like this and do it more consistently, follow it up against West Ham in midweek, the fans will respond. And then we're not going to be looking at Liverpool in mid-table within the World Cup break. They'll be in European contention again. Don't want to say they're going to push for the title, but we know how big the deficit was back at mid-season last year. Anything can happen, but at this rate, you're just happy if they're in top 4 contention, and this is a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, the fans and the players really need to be in unison and spark each other on, really to see scenes like we saw today. And hopefully today's match will be a catalyst for that, and Liverpool will really kick on from there. We're going to leave it there, though, Theo. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you to all of you as well for watching along and giving us your comments. Be sure to stick around with us on the Blood Red channel and subscribe, because we're going to be bringing you the Jurgen Klopp's press conference and Pep Guardiola's press conference as soon as we have them, so make sure you're sticking around for them ones. But for myself, Patrick Smith, and Theo Squires, thank you for joining us, and goodbye for now.